It's all about humanity. About humanity. It's all about humanity. About humanity. It's all about humanity. It's all about humanity. About humanity. It's all about humanity. About humanity. It's all about humanity.
Hello, model citizens. Welcome to Humanity Junction. Tonight on Trains and Tech, we are actually going to run some trains. I've got one more job to do before I can turn the waybills for the next op session, and the next op session is scheduled for February 21st, so I've got to get it done before people get here. So, that is going to be the second thing on tonight's list. I almost forgot what the first one was. I do have a quote unboxing, although everything is already out of the boxes, so hopefully it should not take very long. And then after that, we will jump right in and do that thing that they always say you should never do on a live stream, which is run trains, because for whatever reason, the trains get nervous and they stop running. So let's get to the stuff that is on the bench first. I do have some one item here and then a bunch of items down here to go through. First item on the desk, I just want to mention this is from Klondike. His name is actually Sean, so S-H-A-W-N. You swap out the S-H with K-L, and you get KLAWNDYKE.com. I should probably, let's see if I can do this. Dennis, if you can post up the link for his site, I'd appreciate it. But I was talking to Sean. Sean has been laser cutting stuff for, I think he said 11 years. He is also a model railroader, and he's combining his two hobbies, laser cutting and model railroading. And I just realized I said Dennis, and I made Dennis N-Scale Train Boy also a moderator so he can post the link. But I realized that Dennis Otter Creek now thinks I was talking to him. All right, we got to work this out. One of you has to change your name. That's what it is. So I was talking to Sean. Sean asked if he can send me something, and I said, you know what I really want? Jimmy from DIY and Digital did a video on his T-Track modules, but also did a video on his mini diorama modules. And I thought that this was a brilliant way for me to test out some of my scenery ideas. So I have these ideas of what I want to do to the yards, but I've never tried it. So I can either just jump right in and start doing stuff on the layout, or he sent me these mini diorama modules, so I'm going to build several of these modules, add some track to it, and we're going to play with some ground cover and with some ballasting ideas and methodologies and get some things going. So he makes the mini diorama kits, he makes T-Track modules, makes a bunch of different things. So if somebody ever, oh, there we go. I saw it. It was up there somewhere. So Dennis did end up posting the link up there. Go check his stuff out. Next thing on the list is all stuff that I have gotten from Iron Planet Hobbies. Iron Planet Hobbies is a supporter and sponsor of this channel. If you go over there, use the code HUMAN, you can get 10% off. This variety of items I'm about to show, all just delivered today from them. So, wasn't Dennis like the trouble? Isn't there some movie about Dennis being a troublemaker? I don't know. But that's the theory. That's the theory. Oh, John, have you been working on the layout? That's good to hear. Yeah, there you go. Dennis the Menace. I knew there was something. So the first thing that I got, these are delayed action permanent magnet uncouplers. I had these on the time saver that I did. These go between the tracks. You kind of have to route the ties out a little bit, make them a little bit lower. I'm using code 55. These are made really for code 80. But if you just shave down the ties, they fit in there very, very nicely. One of the operators that came to the last session mentioned having some magnets at the ends of the yards and some other places that are kind of common uncoupling areas. And I said, you know, it's not a bad idea. These aren't very expensive. So I got, what, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 of them. I'm going to do this yard. I'm going to do the south yard. I'm going to do the powerhouse as well, because that's a little bit interesting to get to reach. And then I'll see where else. I've got plenty of them, so worst case I'll have to buy more, but this is one of the items on the to-do list. I also bought some Atlas code 55 track. Now, this layout is Pico code 55 track. So if you don't know, Pico code 55 track is actually code 80 rail that they embed lower into the ties, and they basically add another flange in the middle. So the Pico code 55 looks like code 55 track, but it's got the thickness of code 80, so it works a little better. Atlas code 55 track is actually code 55 track. The track is therefore much thinner and smaller. So what I'm gonna do with this, and what I've been wanting to do, is there's certain areas that I want to add guide rails. So I got the code 55 track thinking that if I lay it on top of the ties, that it should then kind of be at the right height for the Pico code 55 track. That's the theory, at least. So there's one area that I definitely want to do heading into the car float, but I got enough to do a couple different areas just to kind of see how adding guide rails to various different things. Ed, are you talking about putting them too close to each other from like parallel tracks. Like if I put one here and one here, that they'll affect each other. What most of my yards, the because of the way the switches are, they would be staggered anyway. So like one would be here, one would be here, and one would be here. So I should have enough stagger with the magnets to to not cause too many issues around that. But no, multiple sections of the same route. Yeah, I won't have more than one on one track. It will just be one per track. But it'll be yeah, anyway. With sound in the fuel tank was weird running issues. Oh, yeah. That's a good point too. Theoretically, if you're using the magnets, you're dropping the car at the end, so the speaker in the center doesn't really run over the magnet, but that is a good point as well. Some people love magnets, some people don't like magnets, but I found on the time saver, at least with the BLI locomotives, they didn't have any issues going over the speakers in the fuel tanks. But it's a good point. It's definitely something to consider, something to look out for. The next two items are items that I have some of. I just figured that I would get some more because, when you're getting a shipment, you're getting a shipment. I started using Track Magic for my last op session. I found that it worked pretty well. I don't know if it was just that the railroad ran well or if it was actually for because of the Track Magic, but I don't know. I figured I'd keep trying some, and also got some more ballast magic. Anywhere that I have switch machines, I'm going to use the ballast magic to secure the ballast so that I'm not I don't want to glue everything together. Sorry, I was reading what Dennis was writing, and he wrote a novel, so I got a little stuck. But if you need to go over the magnet ever, I was using strong magnets directly. Yeah, some people use neodymium magnets, and I'm just using the Microtrains ones, and I feel like they are strong enough, but not too strong. Maybe what I should do is I do actually have the time saver in storage. I could pull it out and run some of these locomotives over it and do some testing before I cut things into it. But the Microtrains magnets, I feel like, are kind of like just barely strong enough to work if you've got the trip pins in just the right spot, but not two things as well. Those were the neodymium magnets, I think is what he's saying. Those were they. So a couple more things that I got. When I went to Amherst, I was looking for this kit, urban retaining walls. This is what this retaining wall here is. And I wanted to add it over there as well, just to kind of tie the two areas together. They didn't have them at Amherst, so I bought them from Iron Planet Hobbies. I also got from Iron Planet Hobbies these Woodland Scenics concrete retaining walls. I don't know if they will go well together or not. They're both technically concrete walls, so theoretically I should be able to paint them up similar and they'd look the same. But yes, Iron Planet Hobbies has Walthers, has Woodland Scenics, has the deluxe materials stuff, has the Atlas track, and the final item, the big item on the item that is what drove me to make these purchases in the first place, was that I wanted to get a new throttle. So Just earlier today, I got another UWT50. I get the UWT50P. I initially wanted to get the encoder version, and I thought that that was the right version to get. And then I kind of fell in love with yard mode. So yard mode basically means that when the, when this little wheel, oh, that's the wrong one. You don't want to see my face. When this wheel is up straight, the speed is at 0, and when you go to the left, it reverses, and when you go to the right, it goes forward. I love yard mode. Not everybody does. You can still use these the other way as well, but I really like this throttle. So I'm going to unbox this, and this is the throttle that we're going to use tonight to run the train. So hopefully we can get this throttle running. Let me go back though. John Arthur is saying, what is that Track Magic stuff earlier? Track Magic is from Deluxe Materials. It is basically a track cleaner and protectant. And it's supposedly, there's all this conversation about, CRC using that sort of conductive stuff on the rails, because adding that thin layer of conductivity helps and all that kind of stuff. This stuff is supposedly designed with those same sort of things. I've talked to the Deluxe Material guy both last year and this year at Amherst. He is a chemist. There's something about talking to him that, I kind of, I don't know, I kind of believe what he says. I don't know. But this is Track Magic works by dissolving both oil and grease and mobilizing microscopic contaminants to leave a clean conducting surface, setting up an invisible protective film against rust, wear, and pitting, thus maximizing the conducting surface area. I don't know. I don't know. This is what I'm trying. It seems to be working. I don't know. I don't know what to say. Let's get this box open. I'm going to go to this view just because it gives me a little more room to move around and to see everything. But yeah, let's get this open. Again, as I said, this is the 50p. I don't know why they put it in such a huge box, but they do. They put it in this massive box. It comes with an instruction manual, and it comes with a wrist lanyard. I am not a wrist lanyard person, but it does come with a wrist lanyard if you are a wrist lanyard person. My experience with lanyards in general is that no matter whether I use a wrist lanyard or a neck lanyard, that it puts the throttle always in a position that is in a bad position, and I'm always getting it caught on something or hit on something or messed up on something or whatever. So I don't use a lanyard. I use, I don't think it lasts forever, Dave. I do think you probably need to reapply it, but I don't use a neck lanyard. I don't use a wrist lanyard. I just drop the throttle in. I realized as I just started saying that I shouldn't stop right after I drop the throttle. I just either put the throttle in a throttle holder, or I've just been turning the throttle off and sticking it in my pocket, and then when I'm ready to run the train again, I pick it up. In most cases, I don't really find I need to necessarily put the throttle down. Sometimes I do. The TCS throttles also fit in car card boxes, so you can stick them in a car card box, or you can stick them in the throttle holders that I have around the layout. And my throttle holders have uncoupling sticks in the side of them, so you need to go to a throttle holder anyway to get an uncoupling stick, so you know, gives you a place to put them, so you don't have to put them on the layout. So let's get rid of the instructions, and inside we have the throttle, and there's no throttle in the box. I already unboxed the throttle. Here's the throttle. I wanted to set it up, make sure it worked before we got here. I do put a clip thing on the bottom here. This kind of also gets in the way-ish. But what this does is, if you are a neck lanyard person, I do have neck lanyards, and people can, use a neck lanyard if you want. So you installed a belt clip on the back of your throttles. That's a pretty good idea as well. My throttles, I don't have any belt clips on them because then they wouldn't fit in the throttle holder, but I do put stickers on everything. This case, I don't think I'm going to be able to show this on screen, but the problem with the original ones is that the cases were very, very slick. Almost so slick that if you aren't careful, it would just slip right out of your hand. So the front case on this was this kind of, it has a little bit of texture to it. So what they did is, instead of the slick back, the new back is now the same as the front material. So it's got a little bit of grippy to it. The other thing that's different on this version versus this version is the new version has, oops, I was hitting buttons. The new version has black screws, and the old version has silver screws. But outside of that, they seem to be pretty identical. So now I've got two of these, and I've got one of these. This is the 100. This one's kind of modeled off of the NCE throttle with this weird little thumb thingy. Not big on this one, but my layout runs with 3 operators. If you go to wanted.rtsl.nyc, you can sign up to be on the help wanted list for operators. So yeah, now I have 3 throttles. I'm hoping that one operator will come and have their own throttle, because then that means I can use one of the UWTs. If not, it means that I'm going to be using the Digitrax UWT-6D. This is an okay throttle. It's not bad. I do have issues with it dialing up a locomotive. I don't know why I have issues dialing up a locomotive. It's a small room. The UR93 is not that far away, but I do. How many functions are available at the keypad? The first 10. Yes, 0 through 9. 0 through 9, just like on this, 0 through 9, you can get to the first set. To get to the second set, you just hit the shift button, which is right here. And the shift button will take you to the second set or the third set as well. Don't get me started. Don't get me started. I do not understand why NCE is not getting on board and making stuff. But I mean, that, like, how smart is that, right? I mean, like, that is like so smart that Wi-Fi Trax is doing that. Like, that is the right business decision. I don't know why, when Digitrax made this throttle, it should have been Wi-Fi. It didn't need to be their weird duplex system. It could have been Wi-Fi. I don't know why they didn't switch. I got to be honest, these Wi-Fi throttles, they just work. They just work really, 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 really well. Okay, so that was my rant. That was, I think, everything I bought. So I think the next step is we got to go over to the IRT Powerhouse and we got to get operating over there. I'm a little nervous to do this. Things are not very organized over there right now. I kind of got stuff close, but yeah. If the Wi-Fi goes down, I have bigger problems, so I'm not too worried about it. Not too worried about it. All the tablets on my layout are Wi-Fi connected. So if I lose a tablet, it means that I've lost that. And I just realized, this is interesting. The header on some of them has gone away. I don't know what's going on. Oh, okay, let's see. Okay, also not a big fan of Wi-Fi throttles. Oh, also a big fan of, yes. Big fan. It just works well. All right, let's go over to here, shall we? So this over here is the IRT Powerhouse. There are 2 tracks inside that holds 8 cars each. There's a track on the outside that holds right now 4 cars. It can hold more, but right now my plan only has 4 of them. This is eventually what this area is going to look like. Or I should say what the powerhouse is going to look like. That is what all the tracks will hopefully look like at some point. I've got all of the car cards that I need to switch are all up here. The car card boxes that have the stuff that's already in their places is way down here. Let's see if we can... I slowed this down so it wasn't so jerky, but of course now it just takes a really long time for everything. So these are the 3 IRT Powerhouse tracks right here. So these are the cars that are existing. And then over here to this side, and this will be a big, long, hopefully, pan. So these are all the cars that we need to put into the powerhouse. So I am violating one of the main rules of the layout. One of the main rules of the layout is right up here, and it says 8 cars max. I have, I think, 13 cars up here. You're not supposed to do that, but I've got these 2 workhorses right here on the front. So we are going to, let's see if I can, I don't remember actually which throttle I put them on. Okay, it was this throttle. So we are going to call up, oh, there we go. So we're going to call those guys up, and I should be able to turn the sound on and the lights on and the number boards on. So I don't know if you can see all that or not, but I've got 516 in the front, 519 in the back. I am going to put this into yard mode in a second. So what that means is dial it down to 0. Oh, and then we're going to press 3 for yard mode. Bring it up to the center. So now, when I go in this orientation, well, it's switched. So we got to switch that. So now when I go in this orientation, we'll try this again. The train should go that way. And when I go up to the center, it should stop. And then when I go back in this way, it should go back in the other direction. Okay, so we now got the train moving. That is the good thing. Now, though, we got to work from the back. And what I've kind of decided that I'm going to do, just because everybody's watching and I'm sure I'm going to screw something up, is I'm going to work the outside first, because that's the easiest thing to do. And then we'll work the inside stuff. Which is going to be harder because there's just more cars. And you can see that's everything that's on the train. And it's a lot of stuff. I did not read the operator's manual. The operator's manual for what? the operator's manual for this throttle is actually a wiki online. There is a little bit of information in that book, but the best place to actually get info is to get it on the web page. So what I'm going to do first is I need to identify which are my outside cars, which this is one of the outside cars, and this is one of the other outside cars. So this is spot 1, this is spot 3, and the two cars here are 2 and 4. So I need to pull 2, place 3, place 2, and then place 1. So let's back up and let's pull 2. I probably should have pulled out the other mic so that you could have heard the train, but we'll see. Hopefully we're not going to derail too much. Hopefully we won't knock anything off the tracks. I got some uncoupling picks. I'm going to try not to lay all my car cards out on the bench work. That's why I've got the car cards up there. I agree. Oh, the operator's layout for my layout. I have not read it in a while, actually. I probably should read it again. Can you see? Yeah, you can see that area. So just trying to hitch this up. I don't know why it didn't hitch up. We'll sneak back up on it again. There we go. Now we're going to pull it forward, and I'm going to use this track here. So this is the yard lead, and I'm going to use this switch here and this yard lead to do some of the the switching, the working around stuff. So first things first is we got to pull all these cars out, leaving the car that goes in the 4th spot. Oh, I see. Yeah, if I ran the manual, maybe, yeah, maybe. Yeah, and that's kind of was the thought, is like, put magnets for some of these areas, but for now I got what I got, and we're gonna go from there. We'll see how things go. We got a half hour. So the real question is, can I work this entire IRT Powerhouse in a half hour? And I think that's going to be a good question. And we're coming back now, and we need to dump off all of the cars until we get to this car. So this is car number 3. So that car is going to need to get pulled off. And of course, the camera is really in my way, and I really can't see at all. And I'm bumping into the camera, and Dennis is getting sick because the camera is swaying. Is the camera swaying in the picture? Doesn't look like it's swaying too bad in the picture. So we're going to keep going. Dennis, the reality is I've just never actually had trains that I could run for a while. So, there is that. Sounds like you need a redundancy to rely on hardwiring. What are you? I'm not sure. I'm not sure what you're referring to. You can't see Heath. You might want to fix that. Nobody wants to see me. I mean, I'm here, but like, I don't know. Do you really want to see me, or do you want to see the trains? So we're going to stop this here. We don't need to push all the way back. We will push all the way back when we are done. And it's hard to uncouple too when people are watching you. So I'm going to take this car card off here, and we are going to move it down into the third position. So I need to pick up this car now and put this into the second position. And then we'll do this similar game again and go from there. Cameron wants to see Carnage and Mayhem. A lot of people do. It might happen. We could get to a situation where things just completely stop running. That's very likely to happen. Oh, I can't sorry. I can't see my trains just because the camera apparatus is right in the middle of everything. If we go to this view, so the camera is right here, and I'm trying to switch right over there, and it's just, you know, it's just in the way. It's just the way it is. So we're going to, this is a lot of, I feel like the computer programmers are going to maybe understand this comment, maybe not. But switching to me feels very binary. There's a lot of like ones and zeros, right? Like you go back and forth setting and removing, and it's kind of this like on and off kind of process. And I don't know, there's just something about that kind of like back and forth that is kind of relaxing, I guess, in a certain way. But yeah, you know, just everything's in order. We did a little switch on, switch off to get to here. We're now going to back up until we get to this car, that Silver Edge car, because that is the number 1 car. And then we'll have all 4 of those cars all set and ready to go over there, and ready to go. So yeah, so I'm pulling that guy forward, and once I get him in the right spot, I'll send him back in the other direction. Yeah, John, I know it's interesting to actually, like, when I built that time saver puzzle, I didn't think I'd like operations. I still thought that I was going to be a, you know, running in circles kind of guy. And it turns out that I actually kind of enjoy this stuff. And I do still like running things in circles. I do have my O scale and my G scale stuff overhead, which I do really enjoy. Because it does, you know, it gives me that running in circles thing that I sometimes need. But yeah, it is kind of it's a little bit of a disease. So I'm backing this up a little further than I needed to, just so that I can hopefully uncouple this a little bit easier. HO scale is slightly easier to uncouple, I might say, but I gotta say that it's not too hard to do on this. And yeah, if I had a perfect world situation, I would have built this with, you know, dog bone reverse loops on both ends, just so that I could run trains continuously if I wanted. But it just kind of it didn't work out for this space. But, you know, I'm still able to invite people over, and I think have kind of interesting op sessions. They are definitely a little bit more like gamified or whatever. But I don't know. I mean, even if your model railroading is 100% prototypical, I do still feel like it's a game. I mean, we're not, like, I'm not really making money for the railroad. So, you know, it's a game. It is. So now we have the 4 cars. I know there's like some prototype modelers out there saying, no, it's not a game. It's real. I don't know. Yep, Dennis has been here twice now. I hit the wrong button. But yeah, Dennis has been here twice. Operations looks like too much work. It is, but that's, I mean, if you're into puzzle solving, it is. Did you do the car cards prior to switching? So these were the car cards left over from the last session. So, kinda. All right, so let's tighten these up a little bit. And this last car goes to track 1, spot 7. And if I look at track 1, I can see here that car 8 and car 6 are already in there. So what I'm going to do is I am going to grab all of these cars but this last one. So I'm going to grab all these cars but this last one. I'm going to pull out the front 2 cars, leaving 8 in the hole. And then I will grab 6 to 7 to 8. You'll see. You'll see. It'll all make sense. That's the part that I actually enjoy is this sort of thought work. Like I have, so 7 is here, right? And I have 6 and 8 inside here on track 1. So I need to figure out, how do I get 7 in the middle of 6 and 8? And to me, that's a puzzle. And that's like, that's what I enjoy, is that puzzle. I don't think the puzzle ever goes away. I just think you get better at the puzzle. So yeah. If the Wi-Fi goes down, Bob, I lose everything, because all of my switches and everything, all my track power, all of that is over Wi-Fi. So for me, I would lose a lot more than just the throttles. But that's okay with me. That's part of what it's about. And John, I agree that a lot of the fun is going to different layouts and seeing how different layouts operate and kind of getting that different experience. So the cars could have been blocked in the yard. The cars were not blocked in the yard. So because the cars were not blocked in the yard, I am essentially now using the tracks of the IRT Powerhouse, as well as the yard lead. This is the Riverside, the lead for the Riverside yard, which is over that way. And I'm using them to kind of do my own work. What's the point of having a highly detailed model railroader if all you're going to do is look at it? Some people, that is what they enjoy about model railroading, is the scenery, is rail fanning their layout. So I don't like, I get that side of it. I'm also kind of okay that this is all plywood, right? I mean, that's the kind of, thing. And yeah, I mean, there is something about, moving trains for a purpose. And so what is the purpose, right? Why am I concerned, and why can't I uncouple these cars? Why am I concerned about putting car 8 in spot 8, car 7 in car 7, car 6 in spot 6? Like, why am I even doing this? The reason is because these are all LCL shipments. So these are less than carload shipments. They are going into this building here. This building has many different receivers and shippers in this building. So these various shippers and receivers need to unload the specific cars that they need to unload. So I need to make sure that the right car is at the right spot after the end of the session, so that the correct shipper and receiver gets the correct equipment. So that's like, I'm not just moving these around just because it says on the card that this goes to spot XYZ. I'm moving these around because this is where they need to go. So I'm just going to kind of work. I could theoretically work both of these tracks in conjunction with each other, right? So I could work tracks 1 and 2, kind of jumping back and forth from, you know, where my next car is and stuff like that. I'm kind of, I think, just for where we're at today, and just because my mind is, you know, doing 16 things at once, I'm probably just going to do all of track 1 and then go back and do all of track 2. Not the ideal way to do it. Probably going to have a couple extra moves in there to make that happen, but you know, it is kind of how it's going to work out. So what I'm doing right now is I'm looking up here and I'm going, okay, so that's car 7. Car 6 is already in the hole. Here's car 5. So the next car that I need to set behind this car here is this car. So I need to get this car right up next to that one. So we're going to push these cars back in a little ways, and we're going to cut this car off, and we're going to start carrying this car with us. This is actually the car that goes back into spot 1. So I don't need that car with me right now because the next car I need to set is going to be car 5. So I'm going to take this. We're going to try and keep these cards somewhat organized. I'm going to put this back up here because now that is on my train. And I am going to put these in order. So it now goes 6, 7, and 8. And I realize you probably can't see that really well, but this is 6, this is 7, and this is car 8. And I will drop those in the car card box over here. And now I've got these 2 tracks that I can kind of use in conjunction with this track to kind of move things around and get things in the right order. Yeah, like if the yardmaster knows the layout really well, they can block the trains. If you don't know the layout really, really well, it can be kind of hard to know like how and where to block stuff. So it can kind of become a little bit of an interesting dance. So I'm looking here and I actually have 5, 4, and 3 almost in order. So I can drop these 2, and then I need to get this one out of the middle and then go to that one. And then this one, though, does not want to go in front of this one, so I will swap the order of those 2 when I do this move around as well. Yes, I have UPSs on everything as well. I primarily use them for making sure that I have clean power, but they also help, obviously, keep things running. Yes, when the dog barks, it is time to go. And yeah, Dave, that's what it is, right? So all of these waybills and everything, this was figured out by the... not the dispatcher, but the, what would you call that person? Now I'm blanking on it. All right, so just to give an example, here's why I like yard mode, right? So I was having a little bit of an issue uncoupling there. So I was kind of feathering this back and forth to kind of get a little bit of slack in the cars, but I had this down at my side. And I know some people operate with like mobile phones and touch screens. And I personally just find that kind of difficult because I was able to focus on my uncoupling and not look at the throttle because I'm using yard mode and I know where everything is on the throttle. I'm just able to go back and forth without like getting into a bunch of hoopla. Thank you, John. That is version 2 of the car cards. Where do you deliver the main potatoes to? they're actually just advertising cars. They don't actually have potatoes in them. So yeah. Right now, my car cards just say loaded or unloaded. I don't have specific call outs of what is in each boxcar. Partially that is because the boxcars are LCL, less than carload, so they would be mixed. So the idea at this point on the layout is cars come in loaded and cars leave unloaded, and I keep bumping into the camera, and I don't know how much it is swaying at all, or if it is, and it is swaying. Sorry about that. Boy, that's got to be rough. I hope Dennis number 1 hasn't thrown up yet, but, you know, so be it. So this car here needs to go behind this car. So for that reason, I'm gonna put these down on this track here, so that I can, you know, start swapping the order around a little bit on those. We need to pull these two from up here and put these on to track 1. I find it with car cards and waybills that keeping all of your car cards as organized as you possibly can as you go is a very good practice to, you know, a good habit to keep. That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah, and David, that is the game, right? So if you are a very prototypical modeler, or if you go to an op session at a layout that is very prototypical, you can actually go through and read the car cards, and they'll give you a whole bunch of information, right? So this is the next car that I'm going to set, right? And if we look at this one here, it says lading, it says it's loaded. And this comes from Atlantic Terminals. So this was at Atlantic Terminals. It got loaded up there. It got shipped down onto the Riverside Transfer branch line. And now I'm about to drop that car onto spot 3, track 1 of the IRT Powerhouse. And that is, that, you know, that's where it's going to sit. Dennis, I wouldn't say there is a large detent. I would say that there is a detent that I can pretty easily feel, and therefore I'm able to, you know, to find that 0 point. So yeah. Yeah, Mike, that turned out really well. I had some more experienced operators come over, and they were kind of like, you know, you should put something up there for the car cards. This same little setup up here for the car cards is also down there as well. So you can either put the cars up on the valence, which is, oh, sorry, Dennis, sorry. You can either put the car cards up here or put the car cards down there. This is kind of like slightly above eye level, so it works out pretty well. But you know, it all depends, I guess, on your height and all that kind of stuff as well. Yeah, you know, I unfortunately do not have a fridge down here, so unfortunately that does kind of limit a bit the you know, the partakeage of the drinkage in this room, but yeah. I had car cards and waybills before moving the layout. I'm on the fence with doing it again. That way, you're using JMRI. I started with JMRI. I found out some information about kind of how the layout would run. Once I got the information on certain things about how the layout would run, I went back to car cards and waybills because I just like car cards and waybills. I like handling the cards. So, so yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, Kyle, so there's two Dennises. There is N Scale Train Boy Dennis, and there is Otter Creek and Rio Grande Dennis. But thanks everyone who's noticing how well things are running. I've got to say, it's kind of interesting to me that N Scale can run this well. I was a little bit concerned when I first started this layout that things like uncoupling and things like, you know, smooth running locomotives was going to be just an absolute nightmare. And so far, I spent a lot of time on the wiring before I laid the track. I spent a lot of time on the track laying before I ran any locomotives. You know, I think that time spent working at those stages in the process and taking my time are kind of paying off. So yeah, and yeah, Jerry cut the layout cut the wood for the layout back in August of 23. Is that right? It had to have been, yeah, it had to have been August of 23. So people, if you're wondering what I'm doing, this goes into track 1, spot 1. This goes into track 1, spot 2. So I'm going to put this car on this car and then push all of those in, and then I'm done with track 1. And I just realized I don't even have one of my fun little things turned on. I realize you can't see it though from where you're sitting, so I'm going to spin you over just a little bit. Oh, I guess you can kind of see it. Right up here, you can actually see the cars inside. See? Hello. You can see the cars inside there. I've got a little monitor up there, so you know, kind of lets you know what's going on. JMRI definitely has its place, but like you say, Dennis, if you can't reorder stuff in N scale, it's kind of hard. I have chosen to use cars that are very easily identifiable as different, right? But on this train right now, I have 2 of those potato cars. And the easiest thing for me to do would be to keep the potato cars in the correct order so that I don't have to figure out and see with the different numbers on them. I can just look at them and know that I've been keeping my car cards in the correct order and that everything's good to go. All right, so we're gonna cut off right here between this Rutland car. And you can see, I mean, the uncoupling that I've been doing, you know, it's been pretty simple, right? I mean, it's going pretty easily and stuff. Yeah, I didn't have my fun thing turned on. You know how that goes. Oh, yeah, so Grandpa Rails is John, or JD, some people call him John. John Arthur's John. We got a couple Dennises. There's probably a couple Davids. All kinds of things. See, that's the thing, DB Tech, is your OCD may want to put them together, but the reality is that's not what the shippers want, right? So I'm not running the trains. I'm running the trains for me, right? I'm having a good time. Things are happening, but it's more important that I'm putting these cars in the correct locations. So I'm going to keep going until this job is done. I understand some people might need to head out. Oh, yeah, there's John Benicki. Oh, yeah. We got a lot of Johns. We got a lot of Johns. I forgot. Oh, Dennis is back. Time to wrap things up. But yeah, so if I had a magnet right now, right, like I could use the magnet to uncouple this, but I don't have the magnet, so it is what it is, right? So what I'm going to check now, come on. What I'm going to check now is I do not know, and I keep bumping the monitor. I'm not sure what's on that inside too. So it looks like there are 2 cars in there. They're numbers 6 and 2. These need to go down here. And now I'm going to take a look and see where 8 is. So this is 8 here. Uh-oh. What happened? Did anyone see what happened? I completely missed what happened here. But that was interesting. So this is car 1. So I'm gonna put this here, and I know I'm putting this here because it's easier to put it on here than it is to put it on there. So we're gonna get car 8 in position first, but I guess what I really need to do before I get car 8 in position is I gotta pull these 2 cars out of here, and we're just gonna put them at the beginning. So let's just slide everything down a little bit. And we're just gonna pick these up at the beginning, and we're gonna get car 8 in. I don't know how that happened. How's USPS treating you? Not good. Not good at all. I didn't share that yet. Oh, that's the wrong button. You don't want to see me. Here it is again. So it left New York on February 11th. Jersey City, Atlanta, Georgia, Pensacola. So I'm back in Pensacola. So it is either going to come back towards me, or it's going to, I don't know. Hopefully it'll deliver. I don't know. I know that was complete carnage. Oh, maybe that is true. I may have done that. Yeah, it has not gone to New Orleans yet, but that could be a possibility. All right, so that's 8. 7 is the PFAX car. 8 is this car. So this car needs to go behind this car. So I could do that out here, or I could do that back there. My thought for doing it out here is that the tracks are kind of closer together, so I don't need to move as far to swap them. The thought of why to do it in the back would be that then I'm just done doing it. But I don't know. I don't know what's better or worse. Theoretically, you only need, the 2 tracks, and I can do all my sorting right here. This back track is a little too short for some things, just because I've got other cars on it. So that's not ideal, but yeah. At this point, the circuit breakers are your equivalent to Ray's ATLP 2022. Pensacola, that's a little too close to comfort for me. Is that near you, Kyle? Kyle, if that's near you, will you go pick it up and hand deliver it for me? Because I am not getting anywhere with that poor package. All right, so we're gonna move these down, and I'm only moving these just because I suspect I'm about to start confusing things, right? So this is that one, and I'm about to put this car right up against that car. So this car is going to go against that car. And then we're going to pick up these cars, and we're going to put 7, this one, on the front of this one. And then 6 is that one. I don't know. I don't know if I'm making this complicated or not. Ed, I don't think I transposed any numbers because usually when you do that, it says, you know, you've screwed up. Like USPS is pretty good about telling you when you screw up. I suspect, as some other people have said, it's probably like just stuck behind the driver's seat in the truck, and the truck just keeps driving back and forth between Florida and New York, and the package is just kind of enjoying the ride. So we're gonna grab this set of cars here, and we're gonna grab this this PFAX car and get that set. Yeah, I when it was in New York, I was gonna call and like tell them like stop, just get me my package back. But then it went down to Pensacola, so I'm kind of waiting. If I wait 2 days, it should be back in New York, and then I will I'll call them up and hopefully I don't know what I'm gonna do. The reality is those circuit breakers, I'm just not gonna, like, they're not gonna go on the layout at this point. So I don't really care, I guess. I mean, I care, but like, I'd rather not have them lost. But I don't know, like what, like, I don't know. I don't know what to do about it. So this one is now there. And this one is now going to go in front of that one. So I think, I don't know. I'm not sure how I best want to do this. So the game a little bit is the least amount of moves. You know, the more money you make, you're saving on gas, you're saving on time. So, you know, so that is my understanding. My understanding is that if it's still scanning, that would mean that the barcode is still working, and that would mean that they still know where it was shipped from and where it was shipped to, because that barcode lives with all of that information, right? I mean, or I shouldn't say the barcode does, but the USPS system, you know, has all of that information available to them, so it should, you know, it should kind of be working, I guess, right? But you know, who knows? Am I going to take the cars to the other side of the layout? All of these cars that I'm moving right now all go back into this IRT Powerhouse, so I don't have a need at this point to have the cars traverse the entire layout. Last week, at the end of my stream, is when I, you know, took the cars back and forth from one side of the layout to the other side of the layout. This car here is the NMRA 50th anniversary car. This car needs to go in next to this PFAX car. So I am going to do that right now. And both of these have, it looks like, medium length couplers, so they are very close together, making it slightly harder. I am enjoying it a little bit, but, you know. Bob, when you say a re-railer track, do you mean something with a magnet in it, or something to help keep the cars on the track? I did get some Code 55 Atlas track that I'm going to use as guide rails, so they will kind of act as re-railers in a way. I mean, that's kind of, you know, whatever. Yeah, I do it does look good when they are that close together. It's just hard when the camera is right in front of you to, you know, to make those couples and uncouples. So now that we're getting down to the last few cars, figure it probably makes sense to. Okay, so this one is now in front of this one. So we've got now 876452. So I'm going to swap 5 and 4 right now. And then, of course, 3 is way back here in the back. So that provides me no help back there at all. But I can definitely get, at least let's get this Lehigh Valley car in front of the potato car there. Yeah, so I got 1 and 3 back here right now. This is 1 back here, and this is 3. So, so I'm not sure the best way to get those kind of all together with 2, which is that Reading car at the very front there. But we'll keep working this. It's not going to be too much more to get this done. We're again trying to kind of, figure that out. So that Lehigh Valley car is a factory weathered Microtrans car, but Joey from Late Night Model Railroad made a LNLX car, which is for the Late Night Leasing Company, and he weathered it, and it matches this style of weathering really, really well. And I really, having those 2 cars on my layout, there's just something about like the continuity of it. It just kind of, they, look very similar. That it's just something kind of really enjoyable to me. So, all right, so this guy is going to be 4. And I'm kind of running out of room because I don't want to, behind these cars here, there's some more cars back that way. I don't want to get those caught up. So what I'm going to do is once I get this car on the front here, we're going to pull all those cars into the IRT Powerhouse to get those off the layout. Then we'll come back and we'll get the first 3 cars reoriented, and then we'll get those put in there. It is true. It is true. Liking the stream is free. Subscribing is free. I don't know if there's anybody here that's not subscribed, but if you're not, that's kind of a fun thing to do too. So I'm gonna pull this forward, get that State of Maine car a little bit closer to the front by this turnout, just so that when I push back, I don't have to push back as far. I don't know if that's something they do on the prototype, if they'll if they drag cars closer to switches or not, but it's something I do. It's something I do around here. Do you have a method of starting from the front of the consist or something? Are you talking about how I'm sorting the cars? So all of the waybills have what's called ZTS information on it, zone track spot information on it. So I am looking at the ZTS information on the waybill to tell me the order of the cars. And because I know the IRT Powerhouse and the shippers and receivers in the IRT Powerhouse, I know that spot 1 is on this end and spot 8 is, all the way against the back, right? So spot 1 is always near the turnout. Spot 8 is all the way near the back. So I am taking all of these cars now. So now I have 87654 in order. And I'm going to push all of these cars all the way back into the IRT Powerhouse onto track 2. And then that will leave me with 3 cars that go in spots 1, 2, and 3 to put in the correct order and then push them in front of these other cars. So it's really just a matter of, reading the waybills and looking at their information that is on the waybills and then putting everything in order. So right now, the car that is connected to the locomotives is the car that needs to go into spot 2. The state of Maine car here, this one up here, that is car 1, and this is car 3. So we're going to go back against car 3 first, and we are going to hitch up cars 2 and 3 so that they are connected to each other. We will then uncouple from the locomotives. We'll pick up that car 1. We will then pull those forward and push everything into the powerhouse. Can you delay couplers in N scale? Absolutely. Works exactly the same as HO scale. Actually works pretty well too, if I'll be honest with you. I just did it the other day when I was setting some other stuff on the other side of the layout. But yeah. Yeah, so this is kind of basically an Inglenook puzzle, right? An Inglenook puzzle has 3 tracks. I have 4 kind of basically, but I'm using 3 right now. But yeah, I mean, it is kind of a yard job. This kind of switching is the kind of switching that taught me how to work a yard, how to classify a yard, because you're working. When I started this, if you remember, I had 13 cars all lined up on this, and when you have 13 cars lined up, you're actually working that last car is what you're working. So your locomotives are, a mile away from the car that you're working. Not a mile, but you get the idea. It's not right next to what you're working. So it takes a little bit of thought to say, okay, like I need to put the locomotives in this position to work the cars in a different position. Yeah, I actually don't have any. I don't have any of those on the layout. I haven't had that many issues with it really. Classifying a yard. So there's a good book that just came out. It was one of the first ones that Firecrown Media did. Firecrown Media bought Kalmbach. Dave Abelies wrote a book on yards. If you want to learn about yards and about some of the classification and stuff like that, that Firecrown book is a pretty good book to get. And that book looks something like this, called Designing and Operating Yards by Dave Abelies. So that's a good one. There are some other really good books out there. There is the compendium that's put out by the OPSIG. It's got a really good section on yards by Phil Monott. There's a book by Bruce Chubb, which is really good about operations and stuff like that as well. So there's a couple books out there. John, I'm a big fan of learning by osmosis, so if that works for you, that works as well. So yeah, I actually just put in a trains.com order. I got the 2025 model railroad planning and the 2025 what's it called, the Great Model Railroads or something like that. And basically it's just like a write-up of a bunch of bunch of different layouts. So now we're going to take these cards. These all go on inside too. So I'm going to put these all in the box here. And so the last thing that I need to do is, you can see there's already locomotives in this house right here. So I need to take these locomotives and I need to bring them all the way over here, a little bit further, to this engine track right here. So I got to do a little bit of sawing over on this side to get these locomotives up here, and we'll get these set up here. And once we get those set up here, that'll be Bob's your uncle, as they say. Lance Minheim's books, I don't believe, are on trains.com. I believe Lance's stuff is all self-published, I think. I'm not 100% sure why I think that, but that is what I think. But you can get all of his stuff, I know, on Amazon. He also has a good book on switching small layouts. So if you have a small layout or want to get into, switching on a smaller scale. Oh, I just realized we are out of camera shot. Sorry about that. So I'm lining up some of the other switches as we go so we can get this kind of moving in the right direction. So again, just doing a little sawing back and forth to get us into the yard and onto the engine track. Part of the reason I like putting things on the engine tracks is that I do turn off the engine tracks. And by turning them off, I just feel like that gives them just a little bit of protection, I guess, against, a short or something that might occur when turning the layout on. You don't really have to do that, but that's, again, a little bit of my, I don't know. It's what I do. Don't do what I do. You can do what I do if you want. You don't have to do what I do. So we're going to go slightly out of frame here. I don't know if, let's see if I can go a little further. Yeah, we can go a little bit further. So I'm going to use this panel down here to throw this switch. And I've got the track power turned on. Let's see if I can tilt down a little bit and show you guys. So we're going on to this track here, the engine track. It's got its power turned on. You can see it just turned red as the locomotives go into there. These are Atlas locomotives. Yeah, I mean, they've been doing a great job. I'm going to kill the power on them. I'm going to turn the track power off right here. I don't know, you probably couldn't just hear them click off, but they did just click off. So that's running the IRT Powerhouse. The next step on the layout is for me to flip all of the waybills, which I will probably do on my own tomorrow night. But at some point, I'll have to show that process so that everyone can kind of see what it looks like to flip the layout a little bit more. If you want to come operate and you're in this area, go to wanted.rtsl.nyc and sign up to get on the email list and come join an op session. From the city that never sleeps, farewell, model citizens.
It's all about humanity. About humanity. It's all about humanity. About humanity. It's all about humanity. It's all about humanity. About humanity. It's all about humanity.